Hello, everybody. Welcome to this IUSSP training session, and thank you for joining us. My name is Nico van Imwegen, and I'm the Secretary General of the IUSSP, and it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you on behalf of the Council. All of us at IUSSP are, of course, very excited right now about the upcoming International Population Conference in Brisbane in a few weeks from now. And we are very busy with the preparations. And I guess it will be the same for all of you. In the Council, we were also very happy to work closely with our early career panel to develop a series of training webinars for the International Conference. And today is the kickoff of this first training session on how to prepare a good poster presentation. Other training sessions will follow. For instance, in a week from now, we will have a session on how to prepare a good oral presentation with Moana Rarere. And later this month, there will be a series of trial presentations with mentors to coach you to make the presentation. But now, on the topic of today, it is my great pleasure to give the floor to Ankit Sikarwar of our early career panel, who will be the presenter today, and Moana Rarere, also of the early career panel, who will monitor and moderate the chat. So Ankit, over to you and good luck with the presentation.
Thank you, Nico, for the introduction and welcoming the participants from different part of the world. And we are pretty happy that we have quite a global audience today. So once again, welcome you all and thank you for joining today. I am Ankit Sikarwar, an assistant professor at the Center for Research on Social Inequalities, SciencesPo Paris. And yeah, we are doing this wonderful series of event where we aim to help early career researchers like ourselves and others in the field who are quite new or a bit less experienced in the field of presenting their work in a conference like IPC, which is quite global. And so we thought, along with our panel members from the early career perspective team, I and Moana are here to give you some tips based on our experience on poster and oral. So today we are going to dive into something that is often overlooked but incredibly powerful in academic and scientific communication, the research poster. And in this session, we are going to explore these three fundamental questions. What is a poster presentation? Why should we care about making it great? And most importantly, how do we actually go about designing and delivering an effective one? So whether you are preparing for your first conference or looking to refine your approach, this talk is meant to offer practical, some real world insights. So I'll guide you through everything from planning and the layout to content curation, design hacks, and some presentation delivery aspects, along with the IPC 2025 specifics about the posters. And I will provide some of the basic tips that I feel can make or break your poster presentations. Yeah, so that's what I told you about what we are going to cover. And now, so the basic question, a poster is a visual summary of your research, and it is designed to communicate your study's key points, what you did, how you did it, and what you found in a quick and accessible way. So this is important, in a quick and accessible way. Think of it as a snapshot of your project, and it is meant to catch attention, spark curiosity, and invite the viewer to learn more, even before you speak. So that's something important. And instead of dense paragraphs like our research papers or the oral presentations which have more time or more um, possibilities to include a lot of details. A poster leans on structure, visuals, and simplified language to tell a compelling story. And it is a communication tool, not a format. So think it that way. Now, coming to the next interesting question, what is the best or good poster? So what separates a basic poster from a great one? A good poster presents your research effectively, blending design and content with purpose. And it's not just what you say, it's how you show it. And the best posters make complex ideas simple. They use space well and highlight only the most essential information and guide the viewer's eyes naturally from one section to the next. And they should not overwhelm the audience. Instead, they should it should engage the audience into your research, into your Q&A. So it's more than just a format. And they leave the audience with a clear takeaway. That is also very important. And now let's talk about what actually feels like to be at a poster session. So because that's half the preparation. And I like talking about this aspect, which is often overlooked. So most poster sessions are held in large halls. They are often slotted between major oral presentation or at the end of the day when the audience is shifting gears. And that means uh, there is a lot happening once. People mingling, chatting, maybe even rushing between sessions. And here is the truth. Many people will walk right past your poster without a glance, and it can feel disheartening. And sometimes you might see a lot of crowd gathering to the poster next to you, and nobody is coming to you, or it can be reverse, opposite to that. But don't let it throw you off, because here is the upside, and it's huge. So poster presentations create a unique space for meaningful one-on-one interaction. You get to speak directly with people genuinely interested in your topic, and it's your chance to hear feedback, field critical questions, and engage in conversations that can lead to real collaborations later stage. And that's why I personally enjoy presenting posters, because they are informal, flexible, and full of potential. So walk in with that mindset and stay excited, stay open, and you will get a lot more out of that experience than just the display time. So now let's dive into planning your poster. So we start with the content part here. So think of your poster as a highly compressed summary of your research. So you are distilling full article into just the essentials, and that means being extremely selective. What is most interesting, what is most important in your full length article, or the work in progress, um, or the manuscript to be submitted. So you have to be extremely selective there. And most academic posters follow a simple effective structure, which is introduction, methods or design, or results and conclusion. So here the space is very tight, and you can't include everything that you have within these subsections. And I think you should not try to do so. So it is better to ask yourself, what do I want people to remember about my work? And that's what goes on the poster. So it's pretty simple, yet there are so many space limitations. So this selectivity is one of the biggest aspect while designing your poster. And once you mapped out the basic structure, the next critical step is filtering and reframing your content. So take a printout of your paper. That's what I do. Keep a highlighter in your hand and highlight only the strongest point from the full length article or the manuscript. You have to identify what are the key graphs, one-liners, and results that really matter from these vast text and analysis. So these can serve as the backbone of your poster. Now, the important part is reframing. That's where you translate, not just copy the content. So a complex paragraph becomes a clear sentence. A dense table turns into a visually clean figure. So, and this is important because your audience does not have time to read. They scan, and your goal is to make the scanning effortless and also meaningful. So so it is worth thinking about what is the simplest, most powerful way to convey this idea from my research. Now, when it comes to uh, laying out your poster, there are typically two options you will encounter: landscape and portrait. While the IPC 2025 specifies a portrait layout, many conferences allow either both and maybe landscape, but both have their own advantages. And what matters most is not the orientation, but how you organize the information within that available space, whether portrait or landscape. So one thing that we should avoid, the temptation to stretch long sentences from or paragraphs from one edge of the poster to the other. That that really overwhelms your reader and makes your content hard to follow. And instead, think in segments or windows, clearly defined zones for each section. And yeah, I think I'm on this. I changed one slide earlier. Sorry. So here you see the segments within that orientation. So these segments or windows can clearly define your introduction, methods, results, conclusion, and so on. So these visuals compartments help the structure your narrative and make the navigation a bit intuitive. And I think you will also have a good chance to like point your fingers to particular section while you are rushing to explain your research to a crowd which is quite mobile. And also sometimes you have one participant, sometimes you have a group of participants looking at your poster together. Sometimes you will see people are coming a bit late to that conversation, and that's where I think strategically these segments help a lot. So uh, yeah, and we were talking about the layout. So so this is really something important where which is often overlooked, but it is really crucial for a clean and professional output. Uh, so so first thing first, always design your file at full size, that is 100% in your softwares. Put the settings at 100%. For example, the IPC 2025 instructs us to have A0 portrait poster, and this means setting your slide dimension to that dimensions only, which is around 84 centimeter wide by 118 centimeter tall approximately, and making sure the orientation is set to portrait. Okay, I have also kept one snapshot of my PowerPoint presentation software where this tool comes under the design toolbox, and there you specify the slide size. And this is really important because I have seen some of my colleagues who are presenting for the first time, even myself, I did this mistake by not setting up the slide size first, and then I had to like resize everything, and every window or every chart was misplaced in the fuller extent. So this is something to avoid resizing issues and ensuring your elements print exactly as you see them on the screen. And now when uh, placing content, follow the way people naturally read, left to right or top to bottom. So this helps guide your audience smoothly through your research story. And of course, use bullets, not the bulky paragraphs. Your goal is clarity, not density. And finally, maintain a strong contrast between your background and text. And this is not just about the aesthetics, it is about making your poster easy to read even from a few steps away, considering the poster environment setup. So now, before jumping into the PowerPoints, this is a great tip uh, to go and start the old school way. Take out some blank papers and a pen, uh, and try to sketch out your ideas first. Make multiple versions, experiment with different layouts and structures, and this quick low pressure method helps you visualize your message flow and spatial balance before you lock anything in digital. And why this is important? Because once you start designing on a computer, it is easy to get caught up in fonts, color, and alignment, and a lot of digital tool complexities, and we can lose sight of the story we are about to tell. So it is good to go the old school way sometimes. And so now I have some I'm trying to show you some of the instructions given by IPC 2025 about the poster presentations. These are already available online, and you might have received the email. And if you want to quickly access them, you can scan this QR code as well. So just to refresh a bit and put focus on some key aspects. Your poster will be on display for the entire day of your assigned session, and you are expected to set it up before 10 a.m. and remove it at the end of the day when all the sessions are over, and all the sessions of that particular day are over, and check the final program to find the exact board number assigned to you. That is very important. And also you will have the most interaction during your 1.5 hour session from 12 to 1:30 in the afternoon, but you can also make use of the morning and afternoon coffee breaks. These are valuable touch points to engage with the fellow researchers who may miss your main slot presentation. So I would say it's a really nicely organized poster session in the IPC. Also, for this conference, we had the poster dimension is A0 portrait. So what I was telling you when we were discussing about the designing layout. So be sure to design your file at this size and not larger than the display board dimensions. Use the accepted abstract as your content foundation, and you are strongly encouraged to bring your printed posters with you. There might be some possibility to print your posters there, but that might be costlier for some of us, and it is, I think, always better to bring your posters with you. avoiding any last minute complications in a foreign land. So again, coming to the next important part of the instruction. So during the main presentation session, we can engage proactively with both visitors and judges. And yeah, that is something really important to prepare a 2-minute short summary of your study and key findings. It helps start conversation and ensures clarity. Also, the judging will be focused on both your research content and communication skills, specifically about the clarity, design, originality, and how well you explain your work. So this is all about the some important instructions given to us, and of course you can find more details online. So now let's look at some examples of award-winning posters. As we review them, I think you should pay attention to a few things: how they structure their message, how visuals and spacings are used, and how they highlight key findings without overwhelming the audience. All right. So, time for a little honesty. This was my first ever poster back in 2014 or 15 when I was a master student, and I was also at my first conference, and I had this opportunity to present my poster, but at the same time, I had absolutely no idea about poster presentations and, in fact, no knowledge about a scientific conference. So, this is what I prepared, which is not an award winning poster, but I think it is a fantastic, fantastic teaching tool because it shows you to some extent what not to do. So, if I want to go back uh, into that time, and if I want to change a few things, so uh, that could be the fonts, because they are very tiny. You would need binoculars to read this from one or more than 2 feet away. There is a lot of empty space, especially on the sides and in between the windows, and yet somehow the content still feels cramped, and way too much details into the method sections, not leaving the space for other important parts of the research. And of course, not the best color contrast for me, but I still like this poster as it is imperfect, but my first poster. So yeah, we all learn from our first experiences, and this was for mine. And now uh, this one is a bit of a milestone for me. This poster with my team, and it was from my PhD work, and it was awarded best poster at the last IPC conference. So apart from, and I'm not going to talk about the scientific excellence of any posters we are going to see, but we are rather focused on the design aspects more. So let's observe a few things here. First, the most important thing is right in the center. That's visually dominant. That's also very intentional from me, because measuring this land development and mapping it for these villages was a vital part of my research. And I thought this is something that people should not miss from my project. Also, you can see that I have significant space occupied for locating these villages, because this is a very local and regional research, and I wanted to have people an outlook about which is the place I am talking about, where these 615 villages are located on the world map. So apart from that, you can notice bold subheadings in the center along with the graphs and maps to summarize the findings. For example, the change in infrastructure score or land development. So these short summaries act like headlines, and they guide the viewer quickly and make scanning process easier. Okay. Also I have uh, avoided the technical terms used in my research. So there are many mm, technical vocab in my original research, like proximity buffers or Euclidean distance, and I wanted to avoid that in the poster. So I used general terms like far away or close to, and this makes the message accessible to uh, even a non-specialist, right? So we have to be acknowledging the multidisciplinary aspect of such conferences where you have people from different disciplines, and it is always better to think about as you are presenting your work to a layman. So that's something to uh, remember. And one thing I shouldn't have done is that blurry graph in the center. So it was a technical problem from my side. So always use high resolution, better quality maps and charts in your poster that maintain the aesthetics of your poster. And now let's move towards the other poster. And this beautiful poster was created by my friend Emma Rommel and her team. And I'm very grateful that she allowed me to share it here. Also, it won the Best Poster Award at the Population Association of America Annual Meetings 2024. And I think it is a great example of how to handle complex technical research without overwhelming your audience in front of you. And so if you go a little bit deep into this study, it is packed with statistical models, coefficients, and a lot of analysis such as decomposition, regression. But what I like most about this poster is, from the design perspective, is that the key messages are clearly explained in a plain language. And for instance, see the explanations provided in the boxes alongside the graphs. So they are simple, direct, and also memorable. Uh, we can also notice that how the most important results are placed centrally and made visually dominant. Big fonts, strong contrast, and strategic placement, what we were discussing earlier when we were talking about the layouts. So fantastic in that way. And the takeaway here is really critical. Even if your research is method heavy or technical, your poster doesn't have to be one. What people remember is the meaning of your finding and not the values of your coefficients. And that is something really reflective in this poster. Now, so a lot of things to learn from this poster as well. And now this poster was presented at the European Population Conference. It comes from my work with Valerie Golas, and it also received a Best Poster Award in the European Population IPC in Scotland. So yeah, I think I decided to have three of the like well-known population conferences and taking examples from there, and also the posters which I can have most insight about the design aspects and why I did so. So it has some good points to be discussed in terms of poster design, and let's observe a few things here. First, the title is large and prominent, setting the tone and drawing attention. So it is, I think it was really visible from like uh, a good distance, and it it was very intentional from my side. And the next aspect, we can see the problem and need are explained with some eye-catching facts. So I avoided the conventional paragraphs about introduction or backgrounds. I thought rather placing those heavy sentences. It is better to tell what is the problem, and the topic of poster is also something on global environmental challenges. So that's that was strategic from me. And also there is a strategic use of space. More room is given to the main results and they are placed centrally. So even in this paper I had many results which I could not escape, and one is linked to another. I devoted more space for the most important result of this study. As you see in the right side, I have like two comparatively bigger maps for the key aspect of this research. Uh, so yeah, what else? Yeah, the language moves from complex to simple, specifically for the data and methods section, as it has some complex and highly technical vocab to describe these steps done in geospatial environment and also remote sensing. So I was not aiming to tell those technical um, stuff to the audience, which who have like 5 or 6 minutes to stand there, and I rather prefer to have a map which can describe my steps in a very simplest way. So that is also something that I did very strategically. And finally, the poster ends with something that is often overlooked, a question. Although this was answered in my like full length research article, I used it as a curiosity hook that can spark conversation and leave a lasting impression as well. So, and I can tell you that most of the people were like following up this research based on this question only. Oh, what happened next? How do you try to decompose um, this change in exposure and the stuff? So I, it was a very successful attempt. Also, the paper was loaded with a significant and important supplementary analysis. So a QR code is placed at the end, and this is for those who are interested in reading more, and also reflecting that we are quite open to share our research those who are interested. And I think this is all in terms of poster layout and design strategies. And one thing I need to specify here, that sometimes what I'm saying might not be applicable to all kind of research, because we have different kind of research. We have some qualitative analysis. We have some analysis which does not have any graphics or maps to paste there, but still I think there are few things in terms of layout and stuff which you can infer from this discussion. And now let's, when we are trying to wrap up, let's go over some practical tips and the kind that can make or break your poster experience. So yeah, these are based on my like own experience and also hearing feedback from some of the other colleagues. So first, when you have your poster designed, always get feedback. Not with the originally printed poster in its full extent, but you can print it out or send a PDF to your colleagues, mentors, or even friends outside your field. So this fresh eyes can catch things you have missed, and from typos to layout issues to unclear phrasing, this can be spotted by others. So the second important thing is prepare a short talk that mirrors your poster, about 2 minutes long. And this is your quick pitch when someone walks up and have a little time to stand there. So also rehearse it enough that it sounds natural and confident. And don't forget the logistics. So leave a bit of margin on the edges so you can tape or pin the all. this is to avoid the font shifting and element displacement that sometimes happen with PowerPoint files. Also, finally, plan ahead for printing and transport. Know where you will be printing your poster and how you will be carrying it safely to the venue, especially if you are traveling far enough. So these are a few things to be aware about. And now let's cover a few on the day essentials. So small things that can make a big difference during your actual presentation. So first, arrive early and locate your assigned spot. Knowing where your board is located saves a lot of last minute stress. And as we know that IPC is something considered as the Olympics of uh, researchers in this field, and we might have a lot of people there. And this also come mm, brings the next point, that wear your name tag there in your, or like somehow reflect that what is your name is spelled like, and it helps people to engage and remember you, as there will be people from different parts of the world. And sometimes we have like different names, and it is always good to wear your name tag. And bring a pen and paper or a digital note app to jot down the feedback. Some of the best insights and ideas come from spontaneous conversation during these poster sessions. So that's also something important. And yeah, one of the great things about such conferences is networking opportunities. So network very intentionally. Don't just stand next to your poster. You can walk around, meet other presenters, ask questions. So these conferences are as much as about people as they are about papers. So yeah, network really intentionally. Mm, and if your work is published, it is also good to bring a few printouts of your paper. They are great for follow-up discussions or for the interested attendees. And yes, something we all forget, carry a water bottle with you. Poster sessions can be long and you will be talking a lot. So stay hydrated and energized. So this all brings us to the end, and I think that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I hope this session helped you see poster presentations not just as a format, but as a powerful opportunity to share your work, build connections, and even enjoy the process along the way. And hopefully, this is the kind of face your audience will make when they see your poster, a little bit curious, impressed, and maybe even a little surprised. And feel free to reach out. My contact is here. I am always happy to exchange tips, ideas, or just hear how your next poster session goes. So good luck, and looking forward to see many of you in person in Brisbane. And before I finish my talking, I just want to thank Nico, Professor Sally Clark, and Moana, and my whole career panel. And not to forget Paul Monet, the man behind the stage, who is doing all this hard work. And now I give the floor to Dr. Moana to proceed for moderating the Q&A. And thanks, Moana, for joining us in the late night in New Zealand. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess that's a cue for me to come in. So thank you, Ankit, for the presentation. It was very, very useful. We did have quite a few questions come through. So I guess it's a good morning or greetings to the Northern Hemisphere. I'm from New Zealand. So anyway, we'll just get straight to the questions. I'm just mindful of our time. So I guess I'm going to go from the top. So there were questions around whether this presentation will be made available. It is being recorded and the recording will be made as soon as possible. And I think there were a few questions, Ankit, about whether you could make your slides available. I understand that we can do that for you. So that's the answer to those questions. There were a few questions around font size and style. Is there a recommended font size and style for headings, subheadings, and main text?
I think it depends on how much you have in your content to be there. So, and when I say like this is a very like specific strategy when somebody is preparing their poster in their small laptop windows in any softwares, for example, take in account the PowerPoint presentation. I think I can make this. This is very crucial step. So let me just share like in the PowerPoint presentation itself, when you prepare your poster in Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, like you have this tool to set your slides, and you can only see what is within that frame of your window. But when you have this magnifier in your in the right corner, lower right corner of your window, you go to the 100% extent and you see like what you will be exactly seeing on your poster after designing, after specifying the size of your poster there. So I think this would be the greatest help in understanding what the text size, font size should be, or even for the graphics you are going to present. That would be like something really strategic to look at the poster. And okay, let me just share this one more time, if I can say. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm telling you about is you see this one, and here you have like 100% of the size. So if I print it out, I will have exactly the same size of this font as presented in my laptop right now. So when you try to go to design and specify the slide size, and you go to the custom option. Yeah, so for example, if I am doing a poster with A3 size, a little bit, so yeah, so now you see in my presentation the layout is a little bit distorted, and if I put it at 100% of zoom level, this is what I will be get printed. And this is you who will ultimately decide what font size you need to be there. There is no standard format, I guess, for the posters as of now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we also had another question, whether we can have handouts alongside the poster. I think Paul answered that question, is that yes, we can. You can bring handouts as long as you print and bring them. So that's another, I guess, another resource you can use when you're presenting your poster. We've
Yeah.
also got a question here from, apologies if I've mispronounced your name, Alokananda. The question is, what is the most effective way to visually present the architecture of a statistical model in a poster format? Should we prioritize showcasing model performance metrics, for example, accuracy, AUC, or model interpretability? table necessary to portray which layout is more acceptable, portrait or landscape? So it's quite a few questions in there.
So, Moana, would you like to answer this? Because I think for my research, I always have this privilege of presenting maps and stuff in my paper. So maybe,
Yeah, it's
yeah, one
quite
thing,
a
yeah.
technical question. I'm actually not sure because I've never really sort of had to present statistical models as such. Most of my presentations and poster form has mostly been tables.
Yeah,
I've
I
had
think,
quite
yeah,
a few graphs.
yeah,
I think that the most important thing is, I guess, making it clearer for your audience, your intended audience. You know, what is the key message you want to show them? I'm not too sure about showcasing metrics or accuracy. It sounds like it's more about how you want to present it. I think whether you want to use portrait or landscape, I think that's just a matter of preference. I think either option's good. I think it comes down to what you actually want to present and how much information you want in that poster. Ankit, did you want to
uh,
sort of add more to that?
yeah, of course. And ultimately, like, it's how your research objectives are defined, and ultimately how you want to lead your discussion, whether it is a method based conclusion, whether this method or like that method is important for my analysis, or whether it is about a bigger question irrespective of the methods you are using. So I think it's a personal choice, and also it is specific to research objectives. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess it goes back to what you said at the start. You know, it's about really planning and just planning what you want to put on your poster that was going to make it accessible for your audience. Yeah. We do have a few other. We've actually got a couple of recommendations. So I know that, Ankit, you mentioned about using PowerPoint to design a poster. We had Janine actually come in and she found Canva is also another program that you
Yeah.
can use when designing a poster. As they find PowerPoint a little bit, yeah, I can see you waving. Find PowerPoint a little bit clunky. I guess it comes down to preference, whatever works
Yeah.
well for you. But that's just one other program you can use. Also, another recommendation from Janine is to check your posters through a color contrast analyzer, and Janine popped in there a link in case anyone wants to use the color contrast checker. A question here from Lord or Loud. How best do we use pictures or statistical results in a post? Right, I think, Ankit, I think you might have touched on some of that, unless you want to add any more about best use
Can
of pictures.
use of pictures?
Yeah, or statistical results in a poster.
I think it's always good to not to go for tables. Like, that's what I prefer. Maybe like people have different views. Like, and yeah, it's tables are like something really important, but I think this has a limited audience up to those who do the stuff, mostly demographers. But if we have social scientists or geographers or like other non-technical audience, I think graphs or like we should devote some time to transform this heavy tables into graphs,
Mm.
and even like using those text boxes around just what we saw in Emma's poster, like using those simple word text boxes around the bars or coefficient values will make a big difference. Even if we don't have time to or scope to transform the table into graphs, even in tables in front of the coefficients, if we can mention a little text box, a general language, like whether the risk is higher for older people or children, or yeah, it's a few examples from my side. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I had a few people ask about the type of material to print the poster on. We did have a recommendation, but I just wanted to see what your thoughts were about the type of print material.
I think I because for me this was never like something I decided it. I was quite privileged that for me there was like my institution printing the posters, but I think it's good to take the advice of the print who is printing your poster. Yeah, of course, if it is a business, like they will ask you for the costliest one, but you can touch and check, okay, something that is transportable. That is very important, because sometimes we encounter people coming with like the intention is not to save money, but sometimes we think, okay, this will be fine, but when we transport, we have like some like damages to the posters, and it really, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't look that pretty, even if you're like, even if you put your 100% in your research, but it is not presented on a on a good material. It makes sense to have a look, or I think something that if you go in a shop or or a printer facility anywhere, it is better to touch the texture. Glossy is always nice in front of the matte one. So that's something that I can tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I think one of the again, Janine mentioned she's tried different materials. Especially you can use lightweight canvas, which can be folded and packed, which is really good, but can be pricey, of course. So I guess, but I do agree with you, Ankit, about checking in with your printer and I guess seeking their advice on the best, I guess the best way. And I think making it, when you're traveling so far, I mean, I know that having those tubes are quite helpful, but I guess it comes down to whether it will fit as part of your carry-on, perhaps. So there, I do have another question. We probably got a few minutes. Okay, here's a question. A really good question here. Based on your experience, what are the usual questions of participants to poster presenters? Got any thoughts on that?
I think it's most of the time research specific questions, and sometimes like your friends will come and ask you about your personal life also. So be open to all the possibilities you have during the poster sessions. But yeah, coming to the point of kind of questions, most of the time it is something that you could not mention in your poster due to the space limitation. So it is always good to have a QR code where you can like give a reference that if you are interested in reading more. Also, like as I presented in one of my poster, I had a question mark. So this was something that was people were asking me again and again, okay, what happened here, what is the answer? So it was quite intentional. And if you are I think there are some, because this is where posters have good opportunity for networking. These are only the audience who are really interested in your research, so they will come and stop and spend their precious time in front of your posters. So sometimes the questions goes beyond your one particular research and what you are planning next apart from this research. So what is the extension of your this work, how you are planning to continue, where you are working, where you want to work, or this is like beyond your research. So it is a really, really nice scope. And I think questions can be like multifaceted. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So I guess the short answer is be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
Okay, probably just a couple more questions. Is there any specific margin gap that one should maintain? So I guess that's about white space on around the margins, perhaps.
I think 1 inch is enough on all the sides to like have pins, not more than that. that's all right. Margins, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the margins.
Yeah.
And maybe, oh, let me just see any other questions. We did have a question about most of the data is qualitative. You know, how do we present quotes and themes in the poster? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think
Data?
it doesn't lower the scope of being creative in your posters. In fact, like I have seen posters with qualitative research, and like one thing that I observed in my from my friend, she was doing this very nice field work in one of the African countries, and she highlighted, you know, like some of the great testimonies or statements from the participant, and also like if it is a male participants or children or older, like you have these different kind of symbols to present your, you know, like group of population which you are like. So there are there is an like, it doesn't mean that if your research is qualitative you have lower scope of being creative. And I think, as somebody told, Canva, and the poster I'm telling you about was prepared in Canva, so you have a lot of good softwares also to present different type of research efficiently. Yeah.
Great. I think that's all for now. So I might open it up for perhaps any comments from Nico or
I think I should add one thing. Like somebody, just a minute, Nico. Yeah, somebody mentioned about the handouts. So once I tried having like printing my posters, mini posters with me. So if I have a A4 size paper, like I will put two of my posters here and I cut it. So it really helped me. Like I remember I gave this posters to someone who was not able to come to my presentation, but who was interested what I presented. So that's also very like economic choice also, and very interesting one if you can have small posters, mini posters along with you. And people come here with flights, so like people have good time to look at such small pamphlets or not a full handout, full papers, but I would really recommend a mini poster. Yeah.
great idea. Thank you. So hand some time over to Nico.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think we've come to the end of a great session. And I'm not a poster winner myself, but I have sat on lots of poster juries. And I can surely say that Ankit hit a lot of very important points that juries definitely look at. And so I think it was a great session, and I hope you agree with that. Thank you all for joining, and good luck with preparing your posters for Brisbane. And it's my pleasure again to thank Ankit for a great presentation, and Moana for doing the moderating of the chat. And just to remind you that in Brisbane, we will have poster juries for all the sessions. There will be one poster winner per day. For every day, there will be one best poster. So in total, we will have 5 best posters in Brisbane. So good luck with the preparations, and I hope to see all or most of you in Brisbane in a few weeks. And thank you again also to Paul for arranging this webinar, and also for Shelley, my colleague on the IUSSP Council, for working with both Ankit and with Moana. Thank you all, and hope to see you at the next IUSSP event. Over to Paul and out. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.